You have used ChatGPT. Maybe you use it every day, but do you actually know how it works? Not the vague, it is artificial intelligence explanation. The real answer. How does it turn your question into an answer? Most people get this wrong, and getting it wrong is exactly how you end up trusting it when you should not, or dismissing it when you should not. In the next few minutes, I am going to show you what is actually happening under the hood, and it is going to change how you use every AI tool from this point forward. There are two kinds of people using ChatGPT right now. People who think it is a genius oracle that knows everything, and people who think it is a fancy search engine. Both are wrong. If you think it is an oracle, you will trust it when you should not. If you think it is a search engine, you will use it for the wrong things. Understanding how it actually works puts you in a third, much better category. Someone who knows exactly when to trust it and when to double check. And honestly, this is the most important episode in this whole series. If you only watch one video from this channel, make it this one. Let us start with something you already understand. When you type, "I am going to the" on your phone, your keyboard might suggest store, gym, or doctor. It does not know where you are going. It has no understanding of your life. It just knows that in millions of text messages, those are the words that most often come after "I am going to the." ChatGPT does the same thing, but at a scale that is hard to imagine. It was trained on a massive portion of the text on the internet. Books, articles, websites, forums, code repositories, Wikipedia. Hundreds of billions of words. During training, it read all of that text and built an incredibly detailed statistical model of how language works. Not just which word comes next, but how sentences flow, how arguments are structured, how different writing styles work, how code follows syntax rules. But here is something most people never think about. ChatGPT does not actually read words the way you and I do. It cannot. It is software, and software only understands numbers. So before it can do anything with your question, it has to translate your words into math. This process is called tokenization. When you type a prompt, the first thing that happens is your text gets chopped into small pieces called tokens. A token is not always a full word. Common words like the or is are one token. Longer or less common words get split up. The word understanding, for example, might become two tokens, understand and ing. Each of those tokens then gets converted into what is called a vector, basically a long list of numbers that represents the meaning of that token. And here is the clever part. Tokens with similar meanings end up with similar numbers. The vectors for king and queen are close together. The vectors for king and refrigerator are far apart. This is how the model captures meaning. Not by understanding concepts the way we do, but by mapping language into a mathematical space where relationships between words are preserved as relationships between numbers. It sounds abstract, but it is the foundation of everything that happens next. Now, there is a problem. If you just convert words into numbers, you lose something critical, word order. The dog bit the man, and the man bit the dog have the exact same words, but very different meanings. To solve this, the model adds something called positional encoding. Each token gets an extra set of numbers that tells the model where it sits in the sentence. First word, fifth word, 20th word. Now the model knows not just what each word means, but where it appears. And then comes the real magic, the attention mechanism. This is the part that lets the model figure out which words in your prompt are most relevant to each other. When you write, "the cat sat on the mat because it was tired," the model needs to figure out that it refers to the cat, not the mat. The attention mechanism does that by having every token look at every other token and calculate how strongly they are connected. This is what makes modern AI so much better than what came before. Older models read text one word at a time, left to right. The attention mechanism lets the model see all the words at once and understand how they relate to each other. That is why it is so good at understanding context. So let me put all of that together. During training, the model read hundreds of billions of words. It broke them into tokens, converted them into vectors, tracked their positions, and used attention to learn how every word relates to every other word. It built an incredibly detailed map of how language works. And the key thing to remember, it learned language structure, not specific facts. It did not memorize a database of answers. It learned patterns, the pattern of how a business email is structured, the pattern of how Python code follows syntax rules, the pattern of how a medical explanation is organized, patterns, not facts. That distinction matters enormously, and we will come back to it in the risk section. When you ask ChatGPT a question, it does not look up the answer in a database. It does not search the internet. It generates the answer one word at a time, each time predicting the most likely next word given everything that came before. Let me show you this in real time. Watch the text appear. See how it comes out word by word? It is not retrieving a pre-written answer. It is constructing one in real time, predicting the next most probable token each time. Now, here's what makes this so powerful. Because it was trained on so much high-quality text, the patterns it learned are incredibly sophisticated. It learned how to write a business email because it read millions of them. It learned how to write Python code because it read millions of code files. It learned how to explain quantum physics because it read thousands of explanations. And this is the promise. You have access to a tool that has absorbed the patterns of virtually all public human knowledge and can generate text in almost any style on almost any topic in seconds. That is genuinely extraordinary. Every single person watching this can and should be using these tools for brainstorming, for drafting, for learning, for coding, for summarizing complex documents. And this is the important part, you have to know where the edges are, because this same mechanism that makes it so powerful is also what makes it dangerous when you use it without understanding the limits. Now, everything I have described so far, the training, the token prediction, the attention mechanism, that gives you a model that is incredibly good at predicting text. But it does not give you a model that is helpful, safe, or appropriate. Role prediction means it has learned everything from the internet. And the internet includes a lot of content you would not want an AI assistant repeating. So there is a second phase of training that most people do not know about. It is called reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF. Here's how it works. After the initial training, human reviewers sit down with the model and rate its responses. They compare different answers to the same question and say, this one is better because it is more helpful, more accurate, and less harmful. Over thousands and thousands of these comparisons, the model learns to favor the kinds of responses that humans preferred. Think of it like this. The initial training taught the model language, RLHF taught it manners. It is the reason ChatGPT usually gives you a balanced, helpful answer instead of something toxic or unhinged. And this is important for the risk side, this process is not perfect. The human reviewers have their own biases. The guidelines they follow are written by people with specific values and priorities, and the model can still be pushed past its guardrails. Now that you understand the mechanism, the risks become obvious. Risk number one, hallucinations. This is the big one. Because ChatGPT is predicting the most likely next word, not retrieving facts. It will sometimes generate text that sounds perfectly reasonable but is completely false. Let me show you. I just asked for academic citations. It gave me papers that sound real. The titles are plausible. The author names are plausible. But when I search for them, they do not exist. ChatGPT invented them. It did not know it was inventing them. It was just predicting what a realistic citation would look like. And if you think this is a minor issue, let me tell you what happened to Stephen. Stephen is an attorney in New York with over 30 years of experience, not a beginner, not reckless. He was working on a personal injury case and needed to find legal precedents. So he did what seemed reasonable. He asked ChatGPT to help with his research. ChatGPT gave him exactly what he asked for. Case names, docket numbers, specific rulings. It all looked real. The format was perfect. The citations followed proper legal structure. Stephen included them in a brief and filed it with a federal court. The problem? None of the cases existed. Every single one was fabricated. ChatGPT had invented court rulings, judge names, and legal opinions that never happened. And it did so with complete confidence. When the opposing attorneys flagged the issue, Stephen was given a chance to verify his sources. Instead of checking, he went back to ChatGPT. ChatGPT assured him they were real. It even doubled down, providing additional fake details about the fake cases. The judge was not sympathetic. Stephen and his colleague were each fined $5,000, and the case itself was dismissed. 30 years of credibility damaged by a tool that cannot tell the difference between a real court ruling and one it made up. Stephen was not stupid. He simply did not understand that ChatGPT is not a search engine. It is predicting what a good answer would look like. Risk number 2, confidence without competence. You just saw it in Stephen's story. When he asked ChatGPT whether the cases were real, it said yes. It did not hesitate. It did not flag uncertainty. ChatGPT almost never says, "I do not know." It always sounds sure of itself. This is because confidence is a pattern in the training data. Authoritative writing is confident, so the model learned to be confident even when it is wrong. Risk number 3, the knowledge cutoff and the search workaround. ChatGPT was trained on data up to a certain date. The base model is frozen in time. It does not know what happened yesterday. It has not read today's news. Now, newer versions have a workaround. They can search the web in real time. This is called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG. The model searches for relevant content, reads it, and then generates its answer using both its training and the fresh information. The promise here is obvious, but the risk is that retrieval is not perfect. The model might find the wrong sources, misinterpret what it reads, or blend outdated training knowledge with fresh search results in ways that create subtle errors. Just because it searched the web does not mean the answer is correct. And risk number 4, it can be manipulated. Through carefully crafted prompts, people can get ChatGPT to generate harmful content, bypass its safety filters, or produce biased outputs. Remember the RLHF guardrails? They are good, but they are not foolproof. And risk number 5, ask ChatGPT the same question twice, and you might get 2 different answers. This is not a bug. It is by design. The model calculates probabilities, and there is a degree of randomness built in so it does not sound robotic and repetitive. Think of it like flipping a weighted coin. This means you cannot treat any single response as the definitive answer. If you are using AI for something important, run the same prompt a few times and compare. Consistency is a much better signal. So those are the risks. And at this point, you might be thinking, should I even be using this thing? The answer is absolutely yes, but you need to ground every important interaction. Grounding means anchoring AI output to verifiable information before you act on it. Think of it like this. If someone at a cocktail party gave you detailed advice on your taxes, you would not just file your return based on that conversation. You would check, you would verify. That is grounding. And ChatGPT is the most confident person at the cocktail party. In practice, grounding means 3 things. First, always verify critical facts independently. Second, use AI as a starting point, not an endpoint. Let it draft and brainstorm, but run the output through your own expertise. Third, ask for reasoning. Ask it to show its work. ChatGPT and large language models are remarkable tools, but they are tools, not oracles. The moment you understand that they are predicting words rather than retrieving facts, everything changes. You start checking their work, you stop trusting them blindly, and you start getting much better results because you know what they are good at and what they are not. Every person watching this should be using these tools. The promise is real, but use them with grounding, with verification, and with your own judgment in the loop. All right, so now you understand how ChatGPT works, where the risks are, and what grounding means. Let me give you a practical framework to tie it all together. It is called the 4D framework: delegation, description, discernment, and diligence. Delegation. This is the first question. Should AI be doing this task at all? Not everything belongs in a chat window. If you need a legally binding opinion, AI is a brainstorming tool, not a substitute for a lawyer. If you need to verify a specific fact, search for it yourself. Delegation means being intentional about what you hand to AI and what you keep for yourself. Think about Stephen. His delegation was wrong. He asked AI to do legal research, a task where accuracy is non-negotiable and where hallucinations could have catastrophic consequences. Description. Once you decide to use AI, the quality of your output depends almost entirely on the quality of your input. Vague prompts get vague answers. Specific, Context-rich prompts get specific, useful answers. Tell the model who you are, what you need, what format you want, and what constraints matter. And here is a power move. Use grounding prompts. When you give an AI a task, tell it to only use information you have provided. Say something like, based only on the following document, answer this question. You are essentially telling the AI, stay in your lane. Discernment. This is grounding in action. Every output AI gives you needs to pass through your judgment before you use it. Does the answer make sense? Are the facts verifiable? Discernment is the skill of evaluating AI output the way you would evaluate advice from a confident stranger. Politely skeptical, always verifying. Diligence, the final D. This is about the broader responsibility. Are you using AI ethically? Are you being transparent about when AI helped produce your work? Diligence means using AI responsibly, not just effectively. It is the difference between someone who uses a powerful tool well and someone who uses a powerful tool recklessly. Delegation, description, discernment, diligence, 4 skills that will make you dramatically better at using AI starting today. Anthropic actually offers a free course on this framework. I will put the link in the description below. If you want to go deeper, I highly recommend it. Next week, AI versus machine learning versus deep learning. Everyone uses these terms interchangeably and almost everyone uses them wrong. In 10 minutes, you will never confuse them again. If this episode helped you understand AI even a little bit better, hit subscribe. And tell me in the comments, before today, what did you think was happening when you typed a prompt into ChatGPT? I read every single comment. See you next week. Thank you for watching.